So I think we can start now. So I think my screen is visible to you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in the last lecture, we were discussing about the CMOS inverter, and we found that we have a pull-up network and pull-down network in the CMOS inverter. Okay. So let me again draw this CMOS inverter here. So we discussed this CMOS inverter in the last lecture, which has a PMOS acting as a pull-up network and NMOS in the pull-down network. Right? And we understood that when you apply a 0 or a low level, there are two logic levels only in digital design. So that's why we say we say only 0 and 1 we apply at the input. Actually, we are applying 1 corresponds to plus 5 volt and 0, I mean whatever VDD is there, so that corresponds to logic level 1 or high. So let us say we have 5 volt here, so we apply 0. So at the output we get the invert of what we apply at the input, so we get 1 here at the output. Okay. And when you apply a 1 at the input or a high logic level at the input, you get a low logic level at the output or a 0 at the output. Right. So this is what we understood yesterday, and we also understood that there is a capacitance or load capacitance at the output, which comes from the drain diffusion capacitance of these two MOSFETs. Right? And if some load is connected, then that load's capacitance, that is input capacitance of that load, will also add here in this load capacitance. And we understood that when PMOS is on, then that is when you apply a 0 here, PMOS is on. So this load capacitance will be charged to full VDD. And when 1 is applied, that is plus 5 volt or VDD is applied, the NMOS is on, and during that time this load capacitance will be discharged to 0, that is V out will be brought down to 0. So charging and discharging, two phases are there in any CMOS circuit, not just CMOS inverter, but in any CMOS digital circuit. There are two phases, charging and discharging. Via pull-up network, you do charging. Via pull-down network, you do discharging. Okay. So one of the questions which will come in your mind, that why you are using PMOS only in the pull-up network, why you are connecting PMOS near the VDD. So why you are using PMOS for charging, and why we are using NMOS in the pull-down network for discharging. So this is a general question which can come in your mind, that why you are using this PMOS as a pull-up network and NMOS as a pull-down network. So the answer to this question, very straight and simple answer, would be that because my PMOS, so this can pass, PMOS can pass good 1, can pass good 1. So I say good 1. So 1 again here means VDD, right? So PMOS can pass good 1. So that is why we are using it in the pull-up network. So good 1 it can pass means that it can charge this node to full VDD or high or 1, right? So that is why we are using PMOS here. So similarly, why we are using NMOS? So one can say that because my NMOS is used in pull-down network, because this NMOS can pass good 0. So again, good 0 here means If you use NMOS in the pull down network, the output node can be brought down to completely ground or zero, right? So these two logic levels can be achieved. Full logic level, that is full VDD, 1 corresponds to full VDD and 0 corresponds to full 0, right? 0 volt. So these two logic levels, that is full signal swing, can be achieved if I use PMOS in the pull-up network and NMOS in the pull-down network, because my PMOS can pass good 1 and NMOS can pass good 0. So does it apply then that you cannot interchange? Yeah, another question will come in mind, that can't we interchange these two MOSFETs? Can't we have a NMOS in the pull-up network and PMOS in the pull-down network, right? So before that, let me also draw the response of this CMOS inverter through a transient input, right? So let us say I have a transient input. Okay. So this is my transient input, let's say. This is my input which I apply to this CMOS inverter, let us say. Okay. So let us say this is my input. Okay. So I say this is my input. So this input is, let us say the swing is from 0 to VDD. Okay. So this is swinging from 0 to VDD, or 0 to, I mean these logic levels are then, let's say 0, 1, that is low, high, again low, again high, again. So let's say this is my input transient which I apply to the input of my CMOS inverter. Okay, so the output would be the invert of just this input. So let me say what is my output. So output may be somewhat like this. You will see an output which may look somewhat like this. So after some delay the output will come, obviously. I say my output is this, where this swings from again 0 to VDD. So that means this is my logic level 1, 0, and then 1 and 0. So this is how my CMOS inverter will behave to the input transient, which is switching from 0 to VDD. That is, I apply input from 0 to plus 5 volts, okay, a train or pulse of input which is varying from 0 to plus 5 volts or 0 to VDD. And this input also has some rise time and fall times, right? So these times which you are seeing, so these are associated with the rise and fall times of this input transient pulse. Okay. So this would be the output. Okay. Now the question is that whether we can replace these MOSFETs, that is, can't we use a NMOS in the pull-up network and PMOS in the pull-down network? So let us try to answer this question. So let us try to utilize, let us again draw another CMOS inverter, and this time let us use NMOS in the pull-up network and PMOS in the pull-down network. Okay. So let us say this is my NMOS here and my PMOS is here. They're connected, and then output. And this is VDD and this is ground. So VDD, let us say we are using plus 5 volts, let us say VDD, and here I have my input. Okay. So let us try to see how this circuit behaves. So let us try to apply, first of all. Let me draw it again, this NMOS separately. So I draw this NMOS separately here. Let us try to see how it behaves when I apply input. And here I have a capacitance also, right? So because this capacitance will be charged and discharged. So I have a NMOS here, and I try to charge the output node to VDD via this NMOS, right? So this is my output here, V out, and V in here. Okay. So for NMOS to be on, we say that we need to apply logic 1 or high input, or let us say 5 volts, right? So this is also VDD, which is 5 volts, So this is the situation. Okay. We are trying to charge this output node, that is output node capacitance CL via this NMOS. Right. So let us see how it behaves. So let me write first of all V out here, the output, okay, and the condition that VGS should be greater than equal to VT, okay, to keep this MOSFET on. So VT is 0.4 volts, let us say. If I have this condition, then I will say that my MOSFET is on, NMOS is on. So this is for NMOS. So let us try to find out. So initially, let us say the output was at 0 volts. Let us say initially the output was 0. So we are trying to charge this capacitance via the NMOS transistor. Okay. So initially, let us say the output was 0 volts. Okay. So let us say initially the output was 0 volts, and for 0 volt, we see that VGS. Yeah, again, let me mark here the source and drain terminals. So this is my drain, source, and gate. So let us try to find out the value of VGS here. So what is VGS here when the output is 0 volts? So VGS is 5 volts. So let me write here that VGS is now 5 volt. So this condition is satisfied. It is VGS is greater than VT. So that means my MOSFET is on. Okay. Now let us say my V out is charged to 2 volts. So VGS becomes 5 minus 2, that is 3 volts. So again this condition is fulfilled, that is my VGS is greater than VT. That is VGS is, that is 3 volt is greater than 0.4 volt. So this condition is again satisfied. Let us say it is charged to 4 volts. So this time it becomes 1 volt VGS. Still this condition is satisfied. So we see my MOSFET is again on. Now let us say it becomes 4.6 volts. Yeah, it charges to 4.6 volts. So this time VGS is 0.4 volts. So again it is okay. It is equal to 0.4 volts. It is okay. Yeah, this time this is equal to. Now what happens if V out is charged to 4.61 volts? So in this condition, the VGS becomes 0.39 volt. So in this case, this condition is not satisfied, right? So that means my MOSFET will become off here. Okay. So that means you cannot charge using NMOS beyond 4.6 volts. So beyond 4.6 volts, you cannot charge, because if you try to charge the output node beyond 4.6 volts, then the MOSFET is switching off. Okay. So you cannot charge the output node beyond 4.6 volts. Only up to 4.6 volt you can charge it, not beyond 4.6 volts. Okay. So that means my NMOS, it can pass good 0, but it passes bad 1. Right. So bad 1 because my output node cannot be charged above 4.6 volts. Okay. That is, but I want VDD, a full 5 volts should be appearing at the output node. So, but which is not possible. So that means my NMOS can pass good 0, okay, but it passes bad 1. So that is why I don't want to use it in the pull-up network here. So that means this is not okay. I don't want to use, because I want full swing at the output. That is full 0 and full VDD at the output. But if I use it in the pull-up network, full VDD cannot be achieved because the MOSFET is turning off. Okay. Now let us verify the same thing for PMOS. Okay. So I'll verify the same for PMOS. Maybe I'll rub this. Let me erase this portion. So let us verify the same for PMOS. What happens if I use my PMOS. So let us take another screen. So what happens if I use my PMOS in the pull down network? Right? So PMOS in the pull down network. So let me again draw this picture where we were trying to use PMOS in the pull down network. Okay. So we are trying to use PMOS in the pull down network. So I'll bring it here, PMOS here. Draw another separate PMOS here. So this PMOS is applied input, some input, and this output node, that is this one. Okay. So this is the output node here, which is associated with a capacitor. So this is my output node, and this is grounded. Okay. And this one is source, drain, and gate. Okay. Oh, sorry. This is source. Let me rub it. So this one is source. So in our inverter, we had this as source. So we'll utilize this. Okay. And let us say initially the output was charged to plus 5 volts. Initially, let us say the output was full plus 5 volts. And now we are trying to discharge this plus 5 volt output, okay, which is appearing on this capacitor via this PMOS. Let us try to discharge this plus 5 volt via PMOS. Okay. So to discharge this, we need to make this PMOS, that is pull down network, on in this scenario. So for making this network on, I need to apply a 0 here. Right? So some time back we had so we need to make this 0. So I say my input is now 0 volt. So when input is applied as 0, a low logic level, this is on. Okay, so it will start discharging whatever is present here. So let us again draw the same table of V out and silent kar do se. So we try to draw the same table for V out and the necessary condition to keep this PMOS on. So this is VSG should be greater than mod of the threshold voltage of PMOS, right, or greater than equal to 0.4 volts. So threshold voltage of MOSFET is negative, and in this condition the MOSFET will always be on. Okay, so we'll have to verify this condition. So let us say initially the output is 5 volts. The output is 5 volts. So VSG is how much? Plus 5. Okay. Source is this, plus 5 minus 0. VSG is 5 volts. So that means this condition is okay and the MOSFET is on. Now let us say it is discharged to 4 volts. So again for 4 volt, the VSG is 4 minus 0. So again 4. So this is 4 volts. Again it is okay. VSG is greater than 0.4 volts. Okay. Now let us say that it discharges to 1 volt. So that means here I have now 1 volt. So again VSG is in this situation 1 minus 0, so 1 volt. Again it is okay. Okay. It is on. Now let us say it is 0.4 volts V out. It is discharged to now 0.4 volts. So for 0.4 volts, I have again VSG is, that means 0.4 minus 0. 0.4 volt, that means, so again it is okay. But what happens if I try to discharge to 0.39 volts? So it is 0.39, that means VSG. So that means this condition is not satisfied in this case, right? So that means my 0.39 that should have been greater than equal to 0.4, but this is not true here. Okay, this is not true. So that means my MOSFET will turn off. Okay. So that means that I cannot discharge the output load capacitance or the output node beyond 0.4 volts. So I cannot discharge it to completely zero. That is, output node cannot be pulled down to completely zero if I use PMOS in the pull down network. Right. So if I'm using PMOS in the pull down network here, this output node cannot be pulled down to completely zero, because after 0.4, if you try to further reduce or further discharge this capacitor, the MOSFET will be switched off, because the necessary condition, that is VSG, should be greater than equal to 0.4 volts. So that is not matching. Okay. So one cannot discharge using PMOS beyond 0.4 volts. Okay. So one would say that that means that my PMOS cannot pass good 1. Okay. So PMOS, though it can pass, it cannot pass good 0. Right. So PMOS can pass good 1, but it cannot pass good 0. Okay. Pass 1, good 1, and bad 0. So PMOS passes bad 0 and good 1. 1 is good, passing 1 is good, but passing 0 is bad. That is, you cannot pull down the output node to beyond this 0.4 volts. That is threshold voltage of the MOSFET. So that is why we don't want to use PMOS in the pull down network. In fact, one would like to use PMOS in the pull up network and NMOS in the pull down network. Yeah? So as we had seen earlier, that my CMOS inverter is generally or any CMOS digital logic circuit, not just CMOS inverter. So that is made by using a pull-up network and pull-down network. And in the pull-up network, you always have PMOSes, right? Not NMOSes. Okay? Because you want full signal swing at the output. That is, output should swing from full 0 to full VDD. Okay? So that is why we consider this CMOS circuit instead of this one. Okay? Because we want full swing at the output. Yeah? So we want full swing at the output. Full swing required. So because we require full swing at the output, So this is the condition, that we require full swing at the output. That is why we want to use this network, where my pull-up network is made of PMOS and pull-down network is made from my NMOS, and this is for all digital circuits, not just CMOS inverter only. Any complex logic function, you will find that pull-up network has PMOS because of this issue. That is, full swing is not obtained if you use PMOS in the pull-down network and NMOS in the pull-up network. Right. Now let us move on to our voltage transfer characteristics to find out the noise margins. Okay. So this VTC is also called as DC characteristics. So VTC, voltage transfer characteristics, or DC characteristics, that is when you apply input. Okay. Input is present on x-axis here, V in. Okay. So you apply input, DC values of the input, and on the DC values of input, you will observe output here, again DC values at the output. Okay. So when you apply a 0 here, for example, at the input, you observe a 1 here, and only you should observe 1 or full VDD. Okay. And then as you increase the bias from 0 to VDD, let us say somewhere here VDD is. So when you apply, or when you increase the input voltage levels from 0 to VDD, so the output also changes. So the change in output is can again be predicted by seeing the same CMOS inverter here. So one can predict the output values by using the same CMOS inverter here. So when you apply a 0 here, okay, so when you apply a 0 here, so that means my PMOS is on, so the output node will be charged to full VDD. And when you keep on increasing from 0 to VDD, so that means you're trying to turn off PMOS and trying to turn on NMOS, right? So at this point, NMOS is on, completely on, and PMOS is completely off. Okay? But at this point, both PMOS and NMOS are on. This point also both PMOS and NMOS are on. This point also both PMOS and NMOS are on, right? Because we saw that NMOS is always on for VGS greater than 0.4 to up to VDD. For VGS greater than 0.4 to VDD, you will find your NMOS is always on. So similarly for PMOS, you see that for VSG greater than 0.4 volts to VDD, so both are on. So both are on at this point. So let me write here that my both PMOS and NMOS are on here. PMOS and NMOS both are on here. Both are on and both are in saturation condition. Both are saturated or on.
Okay. Sir, the labeling of VIL and VIH, sir, VIL must be more towards right.
Yeah, I haven't come to that. Let me come to that point.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So I haven't discussed it yet. So let me discuss it before I finish these things. So at this point, my both MOSFETs are on. Okay. Similarly, at this point also both MOSFETs are on. Okay. At this point also both MOSFETs are on. Right. And only at these points, okay, this point only one of them is on. Here also one of them is on. So here one of them is on, then that is PMOS. So I say PMOS on and NMOS off. Similarly here, one of them is on. So that is my NMOS is on here. So we say NMOS on and PMOS is off. Right. Now, yeah. So now this region, that is this region here, this one. So this region has to be avoided, right? So this is called transient region or undefined region, okay? Because here both the transistors are on, we see, and in digital logic circuits we only deal with either logic level 0 or 1, okay? That is low or high. Others have no meaning. So we don't want to operate our circuit in this region, okay, which is also called transient region. That is where the output is switching from high to low. So we don't want to utilize this region for digital circuits. Okay. Now this point which you are seeing here, VM, that is midpoint voltage. This point. This is also called switching threshold or midpoint voltage. Okay. So at this point you will find both MOSFETs are on, okay, and output is equal to input. Okay. So midpoint voltage here at this point, my output, okay, that is equal to input. Okay. So that means gain at this point is 1, right, because my output is equal to input. Okay. And if I draw a line connecting this point here 0 and this point, okay, and extend it, so this line makes the slope of this line is 45 degrees, right? Now in digital circuits, as I said, that we want to only utilize these two levels 0 and 1. We don't want to get our circuit to work into this region. Okay. So the question is that how to avoid this region, okay? Or maybe let us say if somehow because of noise my input levels fall into this region, then how do I overcome? Okay. So for that, we say that first thing is that my circuit should have a high noise margin. Okay, so it should have a high noise margin. So let me come to this picture. Okay. So my circuit should have high noise margin. Okay. So noise margin should be high. So for calculating the noise margins, we locate these 4 points, that is VOL, VOH, VIL and VIH. Right. So what are these? So these are, for example, VOH. This is called worst condition of highest output voltage when the input is low. So worst condition, this one, for example, worst condition of lowest output voltage when the input is high. Similarly, VIL, worst condition of lowest input voltage when the output is high. VIH, similarly, worst condition of highest input voltage when the output is low. So we locate all these 4 points. Okay. So VOH is this point, that is worst condition of highest output voltage when input is low. So we would expect the highest output voltage should be VDD, okay, supply voltage, but since this is affected, that is my supply output voltage is affected, output levels are affected by noise, so it is not completely VDD. Okay. So maybe let's say my VDD point, it lies somewhere here, and because my output levels are affected by noise, so I don't get a full swing at the output, and instead I get a high output which is VOH, not VDD. Okay. Similarly, I get a low output voltage here. Okay. So this is my lowest output voltage which I can achieve here, and that is not exactly 0 volts. Yeah. So for on full VDD, let's say this point is VDD, that is input is varying from 0 to VDD, this is 0. So at input, which is equal to VDD, output is not exactly 0. Because 0 is lying here. So at input VDD, that is input high, completely high, the output is not fully 0. Okay. Because again I say that my input levels are affected. Okay. So the output is not full 0, but we say that the output is VOL, okay, in this case. And then we also identify these 2 points, that is VIL and VIH, which are found from locating these 2 points where my gain is, or the slope of the tangent which I draw at these 2 points, if the slope is -1 or gain is negative. So I say that these 2 points become VIL and VIH. That is worst condition of lowest input voltage when my output is high. So output is high and input is low, right? So worst condition of lowest input voltage when output is high. Similarly, this point VIH. Yeah? So these 2 points appear at the points where the slope of on this VTC is -1. That is gain is -1. So we locate these 2 points, and then we say that these are VIL and VIH. Okay. Now the noise margin is calculated as, we say, the upper noise margin, upper or higher noise margin. So we say NMH. We are interested in finding out this NMH, that is noise margin high level, and noise margin low level. So what are these? We'll talk about them, but let us say that we find this NMH by saying that NMH is equal to VOH minus VIH, and low noise margin NML is equal to VIL minus VOL. Okay. So these things, 2 things we find, and we want our noise margin to be high. Okay. So in any circuit, you want your noise margin to be always high. Yeah? So if it is infinite, it is very good noise margin. Right? So we want always our noise margins to be high. And for noise margin calculation, you need VOH, VIH. So locate all these 4 points on the VTC. Right. Now, so what is this high and low noise margin? So high low margin here, noise margin here means that if my, let us define first of all the input and output high and low levels also, right? So let us say that this is my undefined region, right? So I plot this thing here. So I say that this is my undefined region here, okay, which corresponds to this transient region, and I have a Vi. Okay, so this is my VDD here on top. Maybe I'll write. So here I have VDD, and this is my 0 at the bottom. This is 0 volts. Okay. So my VOH, that is obviously less than VDD. So I locate this VOH. Maybe it is 4.5 volts or 4 volts, whatever. So if VDD is 5 volts, so I may say that VOH is whatever it comes from VDD, maybe 4 or 4.5 volts. I locate VOH. Similarly, I mark VIH. Maybe it is 3.7 or whatever volts, right? Similarly, I locate my VOL. Maybe it is 0.5 or 1 volts. Then VIL, similarly, maybe it is 1.5 or 2 volts, right? So let us say this is let us say this is 2 volts, okay? And this is, let's say, 1 volt. Similarly, this is, let's say, 4 volts, and this is 3 volts. It may be something else, but let us say that these values we obtain, okay, for VIL and VOL. So what does that mean is that if my output levels, let's say I'm talking about high input level, high output level, right? That is logic 1 if I'm talking about. So if my noise is affecting the output level, which was supposed to be 5 volts, right? So high level, that is 1, so that corresponds to 5 volts. And if my noise affects this high voltage, that is 5 volts, and that effect is anywhere in this region, that is 5 to 3 volts. That is, the noise is able to affect the high input or high output from 5 volts to 3 volts. So I expected 5 volts, but because of noise, it may be 4 volts or maybe it is 3 volts, right? So if it is between this range, that is VDD, VOH and VIH. So if it is in between this range, that is 5 to 3 volts, it will still be considered as 1 or high, right? So that is, my circuit can perform still, that is the high voltage level, that is 3 volts, will still be considered as 1. Okay. Similarly, let us define a 0 logic level. Okay. So suppose I want for 0, I want full ground, that is full 0 volt to appear, to say that my logic 0 is completely 0. But because of noise, let us say that my logic 0 is not actually 0 volt, it is maybe 1 volt, or maybe it is 2 volts. Further, it is affected by noise. Okay. So to ensure that the circuit will perform well, I say that if my lower noise margin is high, that is, let us say my lower noise margin is from 0 to 2 volts, that is, if the noise affects my low input voltage, and low input voltage not doesn't remain 0 volt, it becomes 1 volt or 2 volts. Okay. So it will still be considered as 0 volt. Right. So 2 volt will be, for example, here considered as 0 volts or 0 logic level. Similarly, 3 volt here will be considered as logic 1. Okay. So that means if my input change or output change is between these noise margin level, that is, my higher noise margin level is, upper noise margin level is between this level, VOH minus VIH. So input is or output is between this level, it will be considered as high or 1. If it is between this level, it will be considered as 0. Yeah, it will not be considered to be in the undefined region. Right? So provided I have a high noise margin. Okay? So imagine I have a margin or noise margin which covers the complete undefined region. Okay? So if I have a noise margin which covers the complete undefined region, so how this is possible? So this is possible if I say my NMH. Okay, so currently NMH is from 5 to 3 volts, okay, and this point is 2.5 volts or VDD by 2. Okay. So if I can cover this range completely, yeah, from here to here, that is if my upper noise margin is from this to this point, that is NMH is if this much, and NML is from here to here, yeah, that is lower noise margin is from here to here. Right. That is, my NMH is equal to VDD by 2. V, that is 5 minus 2.5 volts. That is VDD minus VDD by 2. So NMH becomes VDD by 2. So if NMH is VDD by 2. Similarly, if NML is, that is lower noise margin is from 0 to again VDD by 2. So that is VDD by 2. So if both the upper, that is high and low noise margins are equal, that is equal to VDD by 2, then my circuit will never fail, because I don't have an undefined region now. I'm covering whatever noise comes in, my circuit can easily take, right? Because I have very high noise margin now. So even if this region exists, it will have no effect on my circuit performance, because the entire this range, that is VDD to VDD by 2 will be considered as high, and then VDD by 2 to 0 or 0 to VDD by 2 will be considered as logic 0. So if I have high noise margins of this kind, my circuit will never fail. Okay. Otherwise, you will find if my input or output levels, if they lie in this region, then the output is also undefined. I don't know whether it is high or low. Okay. But yes, if it lies in this region, that is in this region, high or low noise margin region, so I can say that my output is levels are either high or full low, full high or full low. Okay. Otherwise, my circuit can fail. Okay. So to make sure that circuit performs well even in presence of noise, you need to have high noise margins. That is, if you can achieve this thing, that is upper and lower noise margins are equal and they are equal to VDD by 2, so that is the best scenario. Your circuit will never fail. Right? So that gives me the definition of this noise margin. So noise margin, if I try to define, so that means noise margin is ability of the digital circuit or any circuit to perform even in presence of noise. Right? So noise margin is the ability of any circuit to perform well even in presence of noise. Yeah? So for example, in this case, if my noise affects the signal levels, and the signal levels after affected by noise are between VIH and VDD, right? So it will be considered as the signal levels will be considered as high signal levels, high input. Similarly, if it is between VIL and 0 volts, it will be considered low, 0 volt. Otherwise, in this region, we don't know whether it is low or high. Now, why we need this high and low noise margin? So because you will find that, maybe I have some gate, let us say inverter, CMOS inverter, and this CMOS inverter is driving another inverter.
Sir, what is happen exactly 2.5? Circuit will not perform.
Here 2.5.
Sir, at 2.5.
CMOS inverter will always perform. Okay. But these lower levels, maybe let us say if you are at this level, right? So the output will not be completely 0. So output may lie somewhere here. Okay. And then when you have the input as at this point, so output will lie here. So input at this point, output will come here. Input at this point, output will come here. So you are coming, at the center of the undefined region. Circuit will obviously perform. It will never fail. But the output levels, that will not be achieved as completely, high and 0. That is plus 5 volts and 0 volts. So that will not be achieved. Circuit will perform, no issues. Okay. It will behave like an inverter. Yeah, you apply this input, you get this output. Okay. You apply this input, you get this output. Right? You apply this input, you get this output. Right? Circuit will always perform. Okay? But the low and high voltage levels, that is, this will not be achieved. Right? That is, the noise margin will be very poor. And now you are converging towards this region, that is undefined region, VDD by 2. Yeah. So instead of output levels to be plus 5 volt, it is at 2.5 volts. So what will you call an output of 2.5 volts? If the output is 2.5 volt, what will you call it? A 1 or 0? So you don't know. Yeah.
So can't say.
Yeah, so if you have 2.5 volt output, so what will you call it? 1 or 0? Right? So you don't want this situation to happen. The circuit will perform, no doubt. Okay? For this input, you will get this output. And when the inputs are going down, the output is also, changing. Right? So you don't want the final output levels to converge at the center of the VTC, because this is undefined or unknown logic level. I don't know whether it is 1 or 0, this logic level. Yeah, that is, this voltage level is either 1 or 0, I don't know, logic level. So we don't want this to happen in digital circuits. We always want our input and output to be either plus 5 volts or VDD or ground, or that means full 1 and full 0. That is why we are using PMOS in the pull-up network, because it can pass a good 1. Right?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, in the previous slide, why should we always take slope equal to -1 for VIL and VIH?
Yeah, so actually this is already defined that for finding out this low input, that is the worst condition of this, when worst condition of lowest input voltage when the output is high. Okay, so this point actually corresponds to the same situation, that is worst condition of lowest input voltage when the output is high. So generally we take this these two as the points where we calculate VIL and VIH. Right? So this is the point where you will find the condition when, that is worst condition of lowest input voltage when the output is high. If the output is high here, okay, so we have to find the worst scenario. So that worst scenario normally appears in the VTC when you take a point where the slopes are -1. So there the worst scenario happens. Right? Other, maybe if you say that I take it here or maybe I take it here, so those are not worst scenarios. So that is why we always take these 2 points at on the VTC where the slope is -1 or gain is negative. Now let us talk about why this noise margin is important. So one would say that let us say that the one inverter may be driving the second inverter, or one gate is driving the second gate, and let us say the output of this gate, okay, which was supposed to be high. Okay, so output was supposed to be high. So that means I want to apply a high input here so that I will get a low output here. Okay, so high here means again plus 5 volts I wanted to apply, but because of noise, this plus 5 volts, this does not remain plus 5 volts. Because of noise, this gets affected, and this is, let us say, 3.5 volts. So on 3.5 volt, that means here I have now 3.5 volts. Okay. So on 3.5 volts, what will be my output? I mean, I want my output to be 0. Right? The output level should be 0. So this is only possible when this 3.5 volt is considered as high. So when this 3.5 volt will be considered as high, when this 3.5 volt will come in the upper noise margin, that is NMH will be in between. I mean, this NMH, let's say my 3.5 volt, this lies here. So NMH, that is higher noise margin, we said that it is equal to VOH minus VIH. So let's say my 3.5 volt lies in this range, that is NMH, that is VOH minus VIH. So if this is happening, then only this 3.5 will be considered as high and the output will be considered as 0 or low. Right? So this is why it is important, and this makes my circuit, the overall circuit, robust or insensitive to noises. Yeah, because this 3.5 situation happened only because of some noise which affected the output levels. Plus 5 volt was affected, and it became 3.5 because of this noise. So if I have this kind of thing, that is high noise margins and low noise margins, my circuit can be robust and it can be made insensitive to noises. Okay? Because we see that this gate finally is driving some other gate, and if the output of this gate is affected, so obviously input of this gate will be affected, and 0 was expected, but 0 will only be present at the output if the input which is affected input will be considered as high. So that is only possible if the affected input that lies in the higher noise margin, that is NMH. Otherwise, if it is somewhere here, let's say 2.5, then let's say it's 2.5 here, and my output is affected, so that my input applied here is 2.5 volt, then I don't know whether I have a 0 or 1 here. Okay. And for designing a digital IC or digital circuit, the designer should at least know what should be the output and output and input at every instant of time. So in this case, I don't know whether the designer doesn't know it's a 0 or 1. Right? So this is why it is important to have very high noise margins in the circuits. Okay. Now this is an ideal case of VTC where you will find that there is no problem at least, right? Because my NMH and NML, that is higher and low noise margin, both are equal, and both are equal to VDD by 2. So there is no undefined region in this scenario. Okay. And for this scenario to exist, my VIL, that is this one VIL and VIH, so that should be also equal to VDD by 2. So when VIL and VIH both are equal to VDD by 2, and also when your VOL, so that is equal to complete 0, and VOH is complete VDD. Yeah, so all these 4 conditions when match, and that only match when you have an ideal VTC of such kind, right? Where in the transient region you have infinite gain. Okay? So if this kind of VTC is obtained, then only one can say my circuit is completely robust. It will never fail because of noise, because the entire region, that is entire transient region, is covered here. So this is what I explained here, that is if you have this point here VDD by 2, 2.5, and your upper and lower noise margins can cover this region, cover this complete region, then your circuit will never fail. Yeah, so this is ideal characteristics. So you want your NMH and NML to be high, and if they are equal to VDD by 2, it's very good, the best scenario. Yeah, noise will never affect. So whatever level the noise bring in, input and output levels to, it will not affect the overall circuit performance. Right. Now, apart from having high noise margin, the circuit should also have regenerative property. Okay. So it is not that if you have a high noise margin, you can say that your circuit will never fail. It can still fail. Okay. So how to ensure that circuit never fails even if it has high noise margin? So apart from having high noise margin, my circuit should also have this property which is called regenerative property. Okay. So regenerative property, what it is, let us understand it by this example. In fact, regenerative property also relates to some sort of positive feedback mechanism. Okay. So let us say we have a chain of inverters here. Okay. I have a chain of inverters here, that is, let us say here we have 4 or 5 inverters which are driving each other, right? And these are the input and output or VTCs of these inverters, right? So this is, for example, in this solid line, this is dark one, solid one. So this represents the response of the inverter. Yeah, that is VTC. Okay, and the dashed line here, this represents the inverse of this VTC. Right? So this is my VTC, solid one, and the dash one represents the inverse of this VTC. Okay. Now let us say my V naught. Okay, that is I'm applying some input here, and I expected that this input should be high, but because of some noise, this input, that is input to this gate, which is V0 input, so that is not actually completely high. I wanted a high input here, that is full one, but because of noise here, so I have some noise, let us say, affecting the input V0, and because of that noise, my input V0 is not exactly high. It's not full 5 volts, and let us say it is somewhere around 3.5 volts. Because of this noise, it is somewhere around, let us say, 3.5 volts. So let me not 3.5, maybe let us say it is it should have been low. Let us say it should have been low, so that is full 0 volts. I wanted full 0, and that is somewhere around, let us say, 2 volts. This is 2 volts, let us say. So I allocate my input here, V0, okay, on this VTC. Let us say my input V0, it lies here. So it is not completely 0 here. I wanted to apply 0, but because of noise, I wanted to apply 0, but because of noise, it is not 0. It is somewhere around this point. Okay. So at 2.5 volts, that is 0, I expected the output should be high, but output of this gate, that is V1. Yeah, so V1 should be high. If I apply a 0, that is V0 is 0, then V1 should be 1. Okay. So, but since my V0 was not full 0, it is somewhere around 2.5 volts. So it will not be, the output, that is V1, will not be completely high. So the output is now, let us say, lying somewhere at this point. Okay. So the output is somewhat this one, not 5 volts, but maybe let us say it is 4.5 volts or something like that. Yeah? Let's say V1 is now 4. Let's say 1 volts, and this is not full 0. It is, let us say, 2 volts. Okay. So this V1, which is already affected by noise. Okay. So this is 4.1 volts. It should have been 5 volts, but it is 4.1 volts now. That is, it is affected by noise. This is now applied to this gate. Okay. So the noisy signal is now propagated and applied to this gate. So obviously the noisy output would come here, right? So if I apply V1, right? So V1 is high, so the output will be low here. Okay. That is V2 is somewhere here, right? So output, that is V0, V2. Let me write here. V0 is 2 volts. Let us say. So V1 I get, let's say, 4.1 volts, and then when I apply V1 4.1 volt here, okay, here 4.1 volts, so I get V2. Right? So V2 is somewhere around, let us say, 1 or maybe 1 volt. So V2 is 1 volt. Then when I apply V2 as 1 volt, okay, so V3 becomes, maybe let us say V3 becomes fully 5 volts, or maybe 4.9 volts. Okay. So,
Sir.
yeah,
Hello.
please.
Sir, Ankit Yadav is trying to join the meeting, but he's unable to. I think you'll have to let him in.
Okay. So I think I have already added your email IDs, and you don't need my permission to join the meeting. But yes, if your email ID is not added, so maybe you can send me your email ID, so I'll add them, so you will not need permission to join.
No, so once it disconnects and when we join again, then it will ask permission.
Okay.
Again.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So in this example, we see that we started off with, a low noisy input voltage. Okay. So it should have been full 0, but because of noise, it is not full 0. So we started with a noisy input signal, and we got the noisy output, and then we again applied that noisy output. Someone else. Yeah, so when we again apply the same noisy output to the gate in series, so noisy output, again get some value which is again noisy, but yes, from 2 volts I am able to obtain 1 volts, right? So earlier my logic low level was affected. Instead of 0 I was at 2 volts, so the output was not full 5 volts. Okay, so output was from, it should have been full volts 5 volt, but it is 4.5, 4.1. So I again applied this here, I got 1 volt. So from 2 volts I am able to retain my logic 0 level to 1 volt. So when I apply 1 volt here, I get 4.9 volt at the output of V3, right here. So that means higher voltage level was 4.1, but I am now able to get 4.9 volts. So that means if I further progress in this change, if I apply 4.9 volts now to this gate, 4.9 volts, so V4 will be 4.9 volts. If I apply, V4 will be full 0, and then V5 will be, when I apply 0, it will be full 5, again 0, right? So I started off with a noisy signal and I am able to retain my actual logic levels, right? So this is only possible if I have this property in the gate, which is called regenerative property, right? So which is, the example is shown over here. You started off with an input which is lying in this metastable region, and on this input you got this output, and then this output you applied, you got this input, and then this input when you applied, you got this output V3, which is converging towards the nominal logic levels. Okay, so this gate has regenerative property. Now similarly, let us take an example of a gate which has which is non-regenerative, which does not have regenerative property. So for this gate, let us start from this point V0. V0 is in, it's not full 0, it is something less. Okay, so when you apply a noisy signal which is not full 0, this is 0 here, so you apply a noisy signal which is not full 0, and you get an output which lies over here, and this output when you apply to other gate, you get the output of the other gate which lies here, and then when you apply this output to the other gate, you get the output here, somewhere here. So you are converging towards the center of the transient region or the unwanted region, right? In this case, you are moving away from the this region. Okay? In this case, you are moving away from the transient region, and in this case, you are moving towards the center of the transient region, right? So because this gate, it does not have regenerative property. This gate has regenerative property. That is why even if my input signal levels are affected after passing through certain number of stages, my final output levels are within the nominal levels, right? So I started off with a noisy signal, and after passing out 3 stages, right? After passing out 3 stages, my final output levels, or maybe 4 stages, let us say, my final output level is within the nominal values. That is the full swing I am able to achieve after passing out certain number of stages. That is, let us say 3 or 4 stages. After passing out 3 or 4 stages, my output levels are now full 0 and full 5. That is full 0 and full 1. But here in this case, my output levels are further reducing. That is, noise is some sort of, we can say that noise is being propagated. Here noise is not propagated, but here in non-regenerative, we see that noise is being propagated. And finally, we are in a region where we cannot decide whether the inputs or outputs are high or low. Let me see, someone else is trying to join. Yeah. So a simulation can also be done by connecting a set, 4, 5 or 6 inverters in series, and then verifying the output and input of these inverters. And since this gate has regenerative property, so we say that we started with noise affected input logic levels, but finally we ended up with the input and output logic levels which are within the nominal values, that is required value, that is 0 and 5 volts. We started off with this V0, which is affected signal, it is not completely 0, and then we got finally, after 3 or 4 stages, we were able to retrieve our signal levels. Okay, so this is only possible when the gate has this regenerative property. Now, how to identify the gate has regenerative property? So for a gate to have a regenerative property, one would say that for a gate to have a regenerative property, the VTC should have a transient region with gain greater than 1. Okay? So VTC should have a transient region of gain greater than 1, bordered by 2 legal zones where the gain should be less than -1. Right? So this gate, VTC of this gate may have, this gate may have the regenerative property, provided I have VTC, that is this VTC, which has a transient region which has a gain greater than 1. So it seems in this region the gain is greater than 1, bordered by 2 legal zones where gain is less than -1. So this is bordered by these 2 regions where the gain is -1. So it is possible that this gate can have this regenerative property only when these 2 conditions are satisfied. Now, ideal gate, we have already seen that my circuit will never fail if I have this kind of VTC, that is where my higher and lower noise margins are equal, and they are equal to VDD by 2. Now, let us also talk about this fan in and fan out. Okay. So for a gate, you also want the fan in should be as high as possible, and fan out also.
Sir,
Yeah, please.
सर हमें लंच भी करना है सर, अगली क्लास 1:40 से.
Okay, so maybe I think I should stop here and then we can talk about this
Yes, sir.
next class. Okay. So the meeting is ended, and if you have any questions, then maybe I can take up your questions. Otherwise, the meeting is ended.
Sir, can you please explain previous statement once again? VTC should have a transient region.
Yeah, so VTC should have a transient region, that is the region where the inputs are changing from high to low. So that region should have a gain of greater than 1 at least. Okay, and the slopes, it should be bordered by 2 regions where the slope or the gain is negative. So we saw that the 2 knees which were appearing in the VTC, so those 2 knees corresponds to a region where the gain is negative, that is slopes are -1, and in the transient region, obviously the gain is always greater than 1. So at the midpoint or switching threshold, the gain is 1. Other regions, the gain is greater than 1.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else, please?
Sir, in analog, if we use the transient region for as amplifier, because the gain
transient region is used for amplification purpose. So for analog purpose, analog circuit design, we use transient region for the amplification purpose. That is correct. So for analog circuits, we utilize this transient region. For digital circuit, we don't utilize this transient region. We are only concerned with the regions where the MOSFET is either cut off or on. That is those 2 regions, 0 and 1 only. For digital circuits, we do not utilize this transient region. Correct.
Thank you.
So I think I'll stop here. Then maybe we'll meet on Monday. Okay.